You're listening to Season 3 of That's Not How a Baby Sleeps. I'm your host, Alicia Aleni, and I'm joined by my co-host, Aleni Katsinis. We're not your average sleep consultants, no cry it out, or sleep training at all, for that matter.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good. I like your glasses.
Oh, I forgot to order contacts, so I've been wearing them for like 4 days now. I'm like just waiting for the order to come in.
I do that all the time. I just ordered contacts and I have like 6 left. You know, I do dailies. So I'm like,
oh, you do dailies?
I
Yeah.
have to make it through the week because it's my birthday week and I want my contacts. I want to put makeup on. I don't want to wear glasses. It is. It's on Thursday.
I was going to say, it's the 23rd. 23rd. I knew it was the day after my anniversary.
So. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Oh,
it's like it's around this time.
That's exciting.
What are you doing for your birthday?
A lot of things, actually. I came with like no plans weeks ago, and then just trickling plans started happening, which is exciting because last year was my 30th, so that was a big one. And this year's, I think we talked about this before. I find every year a big year. I love birthdays. I love celebrating, no matter whose birthday in our family or it's myself. So Wednesday I'm going out with my sisters and my one cousin, like a girls' night, just to like, have you ever heard of a meadery before? Meadery.
No.
So it's like wine and beer infused with honey, like the mead it's called. So it's really cool. And I haven't really been drinking. I haven't really wanted to, but for my birthday, I'm like, I'll go taste some of this stuff with my family. And then Thursday, it's my actual birthday, so I don't know what we're going to do, but Nora has soccer shots. So we'll go to soccer, and then we always go get ice cream after, so that'll be like my birthday dessert. And then Saturday, she's having a sleepover with her grandparents, so we're going to go to a nice dinner with some friends. Yeah, that's about it, but I'm excited. Did you?
Oh, gosh. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, we did. It was decent weather over here, and Dave had a cold all weekend, so he didn't feel the best, but we just did stuff outside. Like, he's very good with keeping his germs to himself when he's sick, so he kind of stays away or just like always washing his hands and whatnot. So we were outside, which was nice, so at least we could still be together but not like on top of each other, inside our house. So we did that. Yeah, it was good. How was your weekend?
Nice. We honestly had the laziest weekend because we haven't talked in a couple weeks, but the week before that we met my new little niece. I took the girls over to the mainland and stuff. My stepsister had, her name's Baby Georgia.
That's cute.
So she's about a month old now, but Luna and Aylin are just like, they're so obsessed. But they did like a sip and see kind of thing. Like they waited until they didn't know what they were having. So they didn't do a baby shower or anything like that. And I was like, oh, that's like a cute idea. But then also like being October when it's like RSV season and stuff, like they did it all weekend. Like on Saturday they did friends and then Sunday they did family. But like they have such a big group of people. Like it ended up being like, I think they invited like 150 people between the 2 days.
Oh, so they had like a big party like to welcome the baby instead of like showering
so, like everyone gets to see the baby. But then we get a text like beforehand, or my stepdad was like, hey, like just so you know, they're not letting anyone hold the baby. And I was like, well, yeah, obviously. But then in my head, I'm like, oh crap, the girls, because they're going to be like, I want to touch the baby. So we just waited. And Shannon, my stepsister, was like, you just have to wait till everyone goes and then the girls can hold the baby. I want pictures now. No, okay, cool.
Instead of in front of everybody, I get that.
Yeah, like I get it. It's like, I was like, that's a really good idea. But in my head, I'm like, I don't want anyone touching my newborn.
Totally. And it wasn't nice enough to be outside, or was it?
No, not, unfortunately not. So yeah, I was just like, at first I was like, oh, that seems like a good idea. And then I was like, oh, wait, like I couldn't imagine having to host or do anything after having a baby. Like her mom took care of a lot of it, which was really, really sweet. But I just like, I guess it depends, on the person and stuff. And I'm just like, not like that. I'm like, no, leave me alone for a good month or so after I have a baby.
So was it like gifts and stuff too? Was it like,
yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it was essentially a baby shower, but like after the fact and stuff, but really big, like lots and lots of people and stuff. Lots of people I didn't know, which was, it was fine. I ate a lot of food.
Nice. That's fun. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, girls are in love and, want to see her more and stuff, but they're on the mainland, so we have to take a ferry over to go see them and everything. But her husband has family over on the island, so we're hoping to see them a little bit more, and they'll come over for visits and stuff. So that's really good. But yeah. And then this weekend we did nothing. It was great.
But
Aylin was kind of, whenever we don't do something on the weekend, like she feels like the entire weekend was wasted. So we end up with like tons and tons of big emotions and stuff come Sunday. And it was like, this was such a waste of a weekend. I was like, it was so nice to do nothing. I loved it. I don't know what you're talking about, kid.
Yeah, I feel like Nora's kind of like that too. Like, what are we doing today? And like, sometimes we're just gonna be home, and like, I have to catch up on cleaning the house or like doing laundry. So like, and I try to lean into that. Like, it's important to do those things. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do that every single day for 2 weeks straight with her, but like some weekends we have those weekends too, where like Dave and I are getting things done, and she's just kind of playing. She's like, "What are we gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, honey, these are the times we have to just kind of hang out on the weekend." So I
Yeah.
feel bad, but kids just want to be busy and do stuff.
They want to be
And
busy
you
and
guys
stuff.
have
We find that,
exciting weekends, like birthdays and
yeah,
Halloween's coming, so there's like exciting stuff
yeah,
going on.
yeah, lots of stuff going on. That was why it was nice because then we have Luna's birthday parties this weekend and stuff. So it was nice to just like chill for the weekend, but they don't get that. And then we fall into like, we're busy doing house stuff and then we get too much TV time. And like Sunday rolled around and I was like, oh my gosh, like she struggles so much whenever we have those days. She had a really rough day because Saturday we did absolutely nothing. And she had way too much TV time and stuff. And then, yeah, bedtime rolled around and it was just like, just shooting ourselves in the foot. It's all our fault. We know it's our fault. It's still frustrating. But yeah, so I feel like that kind of leads into what we're talking about a little bit today because I know you wanted, this is your idea. I'm going to let you lead on this one, but the fuck around and find out parenting because I know you're not going to swear.
I don't. I'm not a swearer. I will just, other people are using the term fool too, or just like F around, and I just don't
Yeah.
say it. So,
Yeah, I know. And I'm a potty mouth, so that's fine. I did it for you. But you want to talk a little bit about this and stuff because it was something that I didn't
you
even
didn't know
really.
about, right?
I mean, I've seen posts like that, but not like with the specific name, right? Like I've seen posts where it's like obviously natural consequences, which we talk about quite a bit and stuff. But I didn't know it was like a trend. So you did all the research and
I
dove into
did.
this
I did a
stuff.
little bit more
Yeah,
research. There's not a ton of research that goes behind it. I was reading some articles and it was saying this has been like going on for a decade. And I was
I
like,
saw that.
maybe they
Yeah,
called it something else because I never seen this term. And it's funny because I was listening to another podcast about it, trying to find more research. And I think whoever did this, I don't even know who started with it. If anyone knows, I would love to know. Like whoever started this actual like phrase, it's such a bold statement, right? Like actually saying that out loud, especially when it comes to parenting. So I feel like with social media, it's like you have to be really bold and say something really out of like the realm of talking or like parenting. So it obviously became a trend and people start seeing it everywhere. People are saying their opinions on it and what the difference is with gentle parenting, all that stuff. And I just thought it'd be interesting to talk a little bit more about it and what we think it is compared to how we parent our own kids or just the difference of parenting styles. What I found, it's not that much different. Like, they're definitely, people are taking it to an extreme and like being really harsh with their kids. I mean, the term itself is harsh. Like, I would never say this out loud in front of my kid. Like, this is the parenting style I'm using on you. Like, obviously not. But it definitely is like letting your child experience natural consequences when we do that with gentle parenting, anyways. But with this, I feel like it has like a kind of a sour taste in your mouth for it. It's like, well, they're going to find out the hard way, which we know in gentle parenting, we don't say it like that. You know, it's like the biggest example they're using is, you know, if your child refuses to put a coat on, they're going to go outside in the rain and they're going to get wet. And like a gentle parenter probably would like bring the coat just in
yeah,
case. But this FAFO parent maybe wouldn't, and they would have to learn that natural consequence and then come back home. And hopefully the next time comes around, they're going to learn like, well, last time I got wet, so I'm going to bring my coat this time. But that's like the most basic example.
yeah. That's a good example. The thing with that is like if I don't bring a jacket, I'm not going to have a fun time either because my kid's going to be crying and complaining the whole time. Like
Totally.
for me, that sounds really annoying. So yeah, I'm going to let you go outside and be cold, but I'm going to secretly bring something as
Yeah.
well.
And I think that just falls into, you know, with authoritative parenting, which is gentle parenting, like you're showing your child that you are the authority figure, right? They can lean on you, depend on you, and trust you that you're going to show up for them, you know, and like bring that code just in case they change their mind. And I feel like this FAFO parenting style is like, for me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, just reading into it, it feels like they're just kind of giving up, just like fed up with maybe their children, how they're acting, or maybe too many labels of different parenting or the bad rap that gentle parenting does get because what it's called. And we've done a whole episode on this, you know, about all different parenting styles, but that we're creating too soft of children. from gentle parenting, which we know is not true, but
Yeah.
because you can lean into the permissiveness of gentle parenting, right? Like you definitely can. If you have a hard time with feelings and tears and emotions and you just want to make them stop from your child, then you are being permissive and you are letting your child walk all over you. I hate that term, but it's true. Like you do see your child become that caregiver role and you become the dependent, which it shouldn't be that way. So that's why I'm thinking they made this parenting style because they're sick of their kids. I don't know. I just feel like it's definitely an interesting terminology. Society loves to put labels on everything. They have to label everything. I think just parenting general, like I love obviously the approach of gentle parenting because it just aligns the best with how we parent our kids, right? Of course, we're going to fail. We're going to yell. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But it just seems like the FAFO parents are like, I don't know, just figure it out on your own too. Like I've seen a lot of trending stuff like that. You know, it's like they're not becoming the authority figure, right? Or they're not giving their kids like the tools to really be successful or like set them up in that way. And we have to obviously model that behavior as a parent. Like I saw something online or I read about in an article, like this boy sprayed his mom with a squirt gun and then she pushed him in the pond. So that was an example of like the FAFO parenting. I'm like, well, that's a horrible example. That's like, now these people are taking this term and it's like letting you know how they joke about parents having intrusive thoughts or just like, you act on your intrusive thoughts, just like if your kid does do something like that too, you do just want to react and retaliate.
Yeah, there's an urge there.
Yes, of course, as emotionally mature adults, we're not gonna. But these people are, and they are acting on it, and then they're calling it FAFO parenting, which I don't think that's right. Because I saw another one with the little girl like threw water at her dad. She had to be 3 years old. And he threw water back at her, like a cup of water. I was like, what are you doing right there? You're like...
Well, it's like the bite, your kid bites you, so you bite them back kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like my kid never bit me again.
Well, I don't blame them because they're fearful of you now, right? So
Yeah, they might not be biting you, but they're probably biting other kids.
that's very true. And it's just funny because we know when it comes to parenting styles, like if you're going to have that really harsh or neglectful or like punishment, right? Or just like fear-based parenting, it doesn't work. We know it doesn't work in the long run. It might work in that time.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid.
It is a Band-Aid solution for sure. And I don't know if people are falling into that with this FAFO parenting too. It's probably just a trend. I don't think it's going to last long just because we know the parenting styles that do stick and we've had years and years of research on them. So we know how great they are for, you know, our children in the long run. Did you?
And I think too, from like a gentle parenting, like when we look at what gentle parenting or authoritative parenting, the labels, I know we both hate the labels,
Yeah.
but we talk about natural consequences with that too, as well. Like, I don't think it's any different. Like if somebody gave you some guidelines of this FAFO style parenting and was like, okay, you know, natural consequences and kind of like implementing that a little bit more and giving some parents some guidelines, that would make a little bit more sense to me than parents who are just like you said, just kind of like, hey, you squirted me with a water gun and I pushed you into a pond. Like that's clearly not like, that's not what they meant.
Yes.
Initially, but it's kind of turned into that going from like one spectrum to the other. And I think the same thing goes for like gentle parenting when we look at like gentle parenting and then permissive parenting, like the other end of the spectrum. Like they think that's what they're doing, but really it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with you, especially with gentle parenting, because there are so many different scripts and different things online to follow. And that's our generation just looks to online all the time. And there are really great accounts out there that you could follow and like lean into. But even like someone like Dr. Becky, who leans into that type of parenting, she did an episode about this FAFO parenting. And she always talks about too, like that she's an expert, right? And she's a parent, but she's like, your child's unique, right? And you're going to do different things per your child as long as you try to follow this. I feel like it's umbrella terms too, right? Like you have this umbrella of all these different parenting styles, and FAFO is trying to fall into the gentle parenting, but people are taking it and making it really dramatic and making it harsh. Like, more of...
Well, it's a lot of it's clickbait online too.
Yeah, it's definitely for sure. And I think this is how I felt, and I'm sure other parents feel like this too, with the gentle parenting world. It put so much stress, pressure, and like overwhelm on me. Like, you know, that one time I didn't support Nora's emotion because I was so stressed out, or I just like kind of like, okay, just stop crying, because I don't say it every time, but sometimes, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to like get your kid in the car or like get them out of the grocery store or things like that. So for me, I just felt like I labeling myself as a gentle parent just put a lot of pressure on myself. And it definitely led me to some permissiveness at times because I'm like, my child's so sensitive. I really have to be careful with her and how I say things. And I want to take this route of parenting because it is lovely. And I do see it unfolding and I do see things working for sure. It took 5.5 years, but I see it. And that's the whole point of this is we know it takes time as long as you stay consistent with it. But that's the biggest thing is like sticking with those boundaries and being like really firm and loving with it in the gentle parenting. And that's where you get the permissiveness if you don't stick with it. Like, and these kids are smart. They know that they're going to push you. If they ask for a very simple example, it'd be like, can I have one more show? And you already said no beforehand, right? But then you're like, okay, go ahead. And then they get it. Like, okay, I can ask again and again. You know, they're going to keep putting because they want to push you. Your kid is meant to naturally push you, to push those boundaries, to learn from it and all that stuff. And I feel like as long as you're firm, you don't have to be harsh about it. You don't have to be like, oh, do that and figure it out and find out. You know what I mean? Just like what they're saying. Like, and I saw another funny reel online. This dad was like, listen, kids are going to F around all the time. That's what they are meant to do. And we have to be their safe space to come back to. Like they said, you know, they wanted to do something. Obviously, this is all about boundaries with safety too, right? Like if they want to climb a tree, you're the adult, you're the authority figure. Like, is this a safe tree to climb on? Sure, go ahead, you can try it. So yeah, they can find out. And then if they do fall and break their arm, that's kind of on you because you are the authority figure. And if you're not modeling how to do something, right? Like it's gonna, there's like gray areas there, which I feel like with every parenting, there really is, especially when you have these influencers that take a term and then they blow it up and, you know, bring it, it's hard. And I feel like for parents, because I know we've talked to parents all the time, they feel like they're failing or they just feel like they're not following this, or maybe they, you know, lash out their kid for a second and it just makes them feel really bad because they weren't like that perfect, gentle parent that they saw online. So yeah. Do you have anything you want to add? Sorry.
I feel like too, just going back to like putting labels on this type of parenting and just the pressure to be a perfect gentle parent, like all the scripts online, like say this to your child, don't say this to your child, like that kind of stuff stressed me out. And like even with like the natural consequences stuff, like there's some things that are obviously natural consequences, like the jacket thing, where I'm still gonna bring a jacket anyways. But there's other things where I would be sitting there in the middle of a situation with one of my kids and I'm trying to figure out, I'm like pausing and being like, okay, what's the natural consequence? Like I was overthinking it. Yeah. And some things I'm like, they just don't have a natural consequence. I'm setting a boundary. You're not doing that. I'm supporting the emotions that come with that. So I think there can be definitely a combination of these two aspects. But yeah, like that type of stuff really stressed me out. Like I'm obviously when my child is having a meltdown, not trying my best to be regulated, but my brain's not working properly to sit there and pull out a script that I saw on Instagram earlier or figure out, okay, what's the natural consequence of this situation? Like some of them are obvious and I can run with those, but other things I'm like, I don't know. And then I just get more overwhelmed that I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. And ruining my child because I didn't, you know, say X, Y, and Z when they did this. So
yes,
I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on parents for sure too.
I think so because I was listening to something another parent said, and she said something about like an 18-month-old wasn't eating like a certain food group, or they were stressed out at the dinner table for some reason. And she's like, oh my gosh, like I'm messing up my child because I'm doing this right now. I'm going to turn my child into a picky eater. And obviously we know like those things aren't true. I really think that we are so caught up in like, if I do this thing right this second, I'm really going to cause harm and really mess them up. I feel like if you are showing up for your child and loving them and being there for them, that's great. If you're like emotionally abusing and physically abusing your child, that is obviously,
that's a no.
Yes, that's a huge no. And those are scars that are going to be on your child for long term. But if you are trying to show up for them and you are being firm and loving parent, like our children need that. They need those boundaries because even let's like with this FAFO parenting, another example was like letting them do something dangerous to find out what was going to happen after. If they actually get hurt, like it's going to break the trust with the parent because they're going to be like, you know, you let me get hurt pretty much because they did. It was the parent like, okay, go figure it out. Like, go ahead, go walk outside without your shoes on and step on a nail. Or I don't, you know what I mean? Like little examples like that. It is extreme, but that's the thing. It's so funny because I tell Nora that too. I'm like, she wants to be barefoot. I'm like, okay, just know outside there's things you can step on that will hurt your feet. And as long as you're careful and cautious of your surroundings, go ahead, you can try it. Because with her personality, if I don't let her try those things, she's going to push me back more and she's going to want to do it and rebel against me. But that's just her personality and that's her temperament. So, like, I think
Luna's the same way. Like I've tried the whole like natural consequence situation with her, like with dangerous things, like not super dangerous things, but like things at the park where I'm like, you're gonna fall down, okay? And I like would try to stop her, she would lose her mind, and then I would just let her do it, and she would hurt herself and get up and do it again.
Yeah, sounds about right.
She just it didn't this the natural consequences haven't really worked with her. I feel like they could work with like clothing items like that.
Mm-hmm.
The other day she put on shorts and she was refusing to put pants on and it's cold outside now. And I said to Lane, I was like, she's going to wear those. I made her go stand outside first. I said, go on the deck and see how cold it is. And I was thinking this will work. She comes in, she's like, nope, it's fine. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I said to Lane, I was like, I'm bringing up a separate pair of pants. I was like, because she thinks she can wear shorts. I was like, even made her go stand outside and she's still going to wear the shorts. And he ended up making her. And I'm like, really, I kind of wanted to see if it would work.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm like, she's just such a different child. Things that worked with Aylin do not work with Luna. You know, with Luna, she needs structure, constant structure, like sleep schedule stuff, like that type of stuff is really, really key for her behavioral stuff. Aylin, we can be a lot more lax with. We still do stuff. And I like in the summer, like we've talked about this before, but like, I'm not that strict on it. I'm usually kicking myself later about it. But I'm going to continue to live my life and do what I want despite having children. But like she does thrive when those situations are going on. She also thrives from like visual. We've talked about this before with like the little button thing that I made her, which we actually don't have to use as much anymore. She's just kind of fallen into routine. But any transition was always really difficult for her. And me setting a boundary of being like, hey, I'm just going to pick you up and physically put you in the car resulted in boots getting thrown into the front of the car and me getting hit in the head and things that I would do with Aylin, like setting a boundary. Okay, I'm going to support some emotions. Doesn't work with Luna. She's more of a like hands off. I want to kind of work through my big emotions. She does respond really well when you do get down on her level and explain things to her. But usually prior to that comes with a ton of screaming. So I'm usually overstimulated by that point, and that's usually where Lane steps in. But I'm usually already triggered at that point in time. And I struggle a lot with that. But having a partner being able to step in and everything. But I do think that it's different things from all of these different parenting aspects are going to work for different children.
Yeah.
Like it really depends. And it's okay to experiment a little bit and see what works best for your unique child.
Yeah. I think that's so true because like you just said, putting these labels and just like all this pressure on us is gonna really rob like our joy of like parenting too. Like every child's gonna experience things differently, and I think it's okay to feel it out and try something and see if it worked. And then the next day try something different. Or I think consistency is key, and just having realistic expectations around parenting and child development. And like your 2-year-old isn't gonna grasp the idea of like a natural consequence. I guess it depends. Like it all depends on what's going on. Like a biggest one people always say is like hitting, right? Like your 2-year-old's gonna hit because they're starting to use their hands and maybe they can't verbalize with you, and you just have to constantly keep saying like, we don't hit, like our hands are gentle. Or even if they're hitting a sibling, you remove that sibling, or things like that. I think it just depends, because a lot of people think like, well, children need consequences, they need discipline, they need punishment. I'm like, well, yeah, but not in the way that you think it is.
Like when we're setting these boundaries, are they developmentally appropriate for the child?
Totally.
Because looking at that is really key and stuff. Like with Luna and her hitting and stuff, because that's a big thing. Is like, I think one of my biggest triggers right now is the two of them fighting.
Yeah.
I said for the longest time when well, you know this, when I was only going to have one child, one of my big things is like, I don't want to hear them fight. Like that just sounds awful. It is so triggering.
I bet.
For me. And like sometimes I'm like, you want to step back and kind of have them work it out, but when you hear things escalating, and Luna's always the violent one, and she's turning 4 next week and stuff, so like I don't want her hitting you. We're past that point where you should not be hitting your sister, but at the same time, I feel like she really, really does struggle with like getting those words out still when she is escalated, and that is her like, it's like a trigger response for her. Like she gets frustrated and she hits. Yeah. So it's definitely something that we're still continuing to work on and set boundaries around it. And more so like controlling the environment. Like when I hear that something is getting escalated, stepping in at that point in time, like I should be.
Yeah.
But that's definitely been something that like we continue to struggle with our 4-year-old.
Yeah,
so
which makes sense. And I feel like that's what a gentle parent would do, is get to the root cause of the behavior or step in before things get worse. Like, I feel like, I don't know if this is true or not, but with like a FAFO parent's like, all right, go ahead, go hit your sibling and find out. They're going to hit you back.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe I'm sure people who are listening that have multiple kids, like, yeah, sometimes we do that because you're over the edge with it, or you're just sick of it because they're like always fighting. And I understand siblings are always fighting. But I think the biggest thing with any relationship or parenting is truly getting to the root cause of each thing. And that connection piece is like huge with gentle parenting. And I feel like FAFO parenting is losing that connection a little bit, right? Do you agree? Just like everything that we've said so far, or just, I mean, I don't want to say totally bash it, but it's just like when we're trying to parent our children, it's always in an attachment focused connection way. Like, we have to connect with them before they even listen to us. They're not going to listen to our direction if we feel disconnected or if we're dysregulated. Like, we have to connect with them on their level that they'll understand too. And I'm sure, I know you said this before, like Nora's at the stage of like love. Her attachment stage is everything is love. She wants to make sure that we still love her, even though she's not listening. Or always asking me like, are you going to love me even if you're not with me? And I'm always reassuring her all the time that my love's unconditional, even if you don't listen, or even if you're doing this. Like, they have to know that. Like, and just modeling that too is like, you know, sometimes we're going to mess up too. And like, mommy and daddy, we don't fight in front of Nora, but of course we're not perfect. And we bicker here and there in front of her. She's like, stop fighting. Like, trust me, we're not fighting. We are not yelling. But we have to like model that behavior. Like, if we're just, you know, that, I feel like that's the biggest thing with gentle parenting too, is like modeling really appropriate, age appropriate behavior depending on where they're at developmentally. And the FAFO is like, well, you just got to go do it and figure out your consequence from it. But I don't see much modeling from it. You know, it's like they're trying to take some terms maybe from gentle parenting, but they're not giving their child like tools, right, to like figure it out. And we're giving our children so many tools that I know you see with Aylin years later, and I'm starting to see with Nora too. Like, she understands like, this is not how we act in our home, or this is not how we speak to each other. And like, I even tell her, and I was looking it up about gentle parenting, like, if she's giving me attitude or she's saying mean words to me, I'm going to be like, that's not how we talk to each other. I'm not going to talk to you right now. Like, when you're ready to talk nice, you can come talk to me. And she like sits and realizes it, because I'm like, I'm not talking to you like that. Like, I don't want to be spoken to like that. And for the longest time, I felt like that wasn't a gentle parenting thing to do. And I felt bad for ever saying that. But I was like, I'm not going to let my 5-year-old talk to me like that. Or
you
like,
get to an age where
you know, you get to an age where it's okay, I feel like, to say those things. And I'm
going to put a boundary. It would be the same thing as like, you're hurting me right now, so we're going to move away. I'm not ignoring you. I am here when you're ready to not speak to me like that or hit me. But yeah, it's very triggering. I don't know if we talked about this already. I think we might have talked about it a little bit with the summer episode. I got my first I hate you, which was fun.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly triggering for me. I feel like knowing your triggers and stuff when you're parenting your kids is really, really huge. And my triggers are 1,000% when I am like overstimulated. I've been dealing with the bickering all day, or like whatever it is, too many noises, things like that. That's very triggering for me. And then parent the sass, like parenting a tiny person like me. It was a morning and everything was all good or whatever. And then she decided that she put on shorts, and I was like, it was at like the beginning of September. And I was like, you can't wear shorts. It's cold now. It's like, no, well, I want my black bell bottoms. She's really into bell bottoms right now, which are so, and I was like, they're not clean. And she's like, well, I want my other black pants. I'm like, those are also not clean. I'll wash them for you tomorrow. And she's like, well, I'm not going to, like, I don't want any of these pants. Like, well, it's 7 pairs. And she's like, nope, I'm not wearing any of those. Those are all ugly. I'm like, no, they're not. So I'm like, Luna's having a great morning. She's like ready to go in the car and everything. And Aylin's just like refusing. She's like, no, I'm not getting in the car. I'm like out on the front lawn. Luckily, our neighbors aren't super close. I'm yelling, losing my mind. In the freaking car right now. Nope, I'm not doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And luckily my dad lives downstairs. So I was like, I just texted him. I was like, Aylin's upstairs right now. So if she needs anything, she'll come down, but she won't put pants on. I was like, I'm driving Luna to daycare so I can continue my day and I'll come back. And I needed that time to calm down because I was not regulated at all. And I was acting like a complete spaz. But prior to leaving, like, I called Lane and he's trying to parent her through the phone. Like, it was just like an absolute disaster situation. He's like, put your pants on. She's like, no. And he's like, just sit in the car. Eventually she'll put them on. I'm like, no, I'm telling you right now, I can see the state that she is in. I used to get like that with my mom. That girl's not putting pants on. She will not get in the car. I was like, she is so persistent.
Yeah.
Exactly I remember thinking that as a child, like the pushback. I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. I will hold my boundary. I am not putting pants on. That is not happening. I was like, and she's exactly like me.
Yeah, it's triggering to see that.
So then I came back and I had calmed down and we had a nice little chat. And it wasn't about the pants at all. She just doesn't like her teacher, didn't want to go to school. We put pants on and we went to school.
That's hard. We definitely had a lot of those moments too. And I feel like a big thing with parenting and mothering a child that is like you or opposite, Nora's not like me at all. So that's hard and triggering for me, I guess. But obviously, like we know about parenting and generational parenting, if I was able to fully express myself or feel like I can be exactly who I wanted to be as a child, who knows how I would have been, right? Maybe I would have been like Nora and more carefree and just like really adventurous or like super independent, I don't know, like all those things. Like I felt very sheltered because I was so shy and nervous because I couldn't feel like I could be fully who I was, and Nora fully can be who she was. So I read a lot about that, about parenting, as like it's a trigger to see your child how you want it to be, which sounds so silly, but it's true because like you're trying to parent your own inner child while parenting your child. But I definitely get that with the persistentness. And I did get, I think Nora said, I don't know if she said I hate you one day or I was really mean or I don't know, she didn't like me. She definitely threw out a lot of words like that. And I was just like, whoa, like you must be really mad at me right now. And that's just so a gentle parenting thing to say. I think I just knew it was coming.
You're so good at that.
I'm not all the time, but like I knew it was coming just because like how she was building it up. And and you know what? Actually, I think she already said it before to Dave and he didn't, I forgot how it went. It definitely happened when either she said it to me one time and I got triggered in a response that you did. And then like the next time I'm like, I'm not going to let this happen again. Like, I know she doesn't mean it, and like I'm the adult here. I have to model the behavior. And the way that I did, she was like looking at me. I'm like, you know, it's not nice to talk like that. You're obviously really mad if you want to say those really mean words to me. I was like, I'm ready to talk when you're ready to talk kinder. And it was the same thing. It was about something totally different. It had nothing to do with me, nothing to do with not actually liking me. I think she heard it from like one of her cousins. So she didn't even understand like what that meant. Like, I hate you. She really didn't. And I feel like kids are always getting a reaction out of us with everything that we do. And it's always about trying to figure out if we still love them or if like they're trying to push it all the time. And I feel like a lot of people will say like, oh, well, that's why gentle parenting is so soft because you let your kids push you around or like all that stuff. But obviously we know that's not true because our children are becoming adaptable and resilient and like really great little humans. And we're seeing that now. Like they might see our child kicking and screaming, but they're not going to see the other side of like the really great conversation, just like you guys had. Like she was able to open up to you about how she was truly feeling because you always let those emotions be acceptable.
Yeah, once I calm down.
Yes.
Because that's the thing is like when I have that barrier up and stuff, there's no, like, it's like word vomit. I'm like, it's coming out and I know it's not going to work, but I'm just so frustrated and so angry that it's still happening. And even with like the random comments that we'll get of like, you're the worst or I hate you and stuff, I think we talked about this, she'll go into like, she'll be saying all these really horrible things and then she'll start like, a light switch will go off and she'll start verbalizing how guilty she feels about what she said. And it's just like breaks my heart every single time. She's like, I'm the worst. Why would I say that? It's all my fault. Like she gets really down on herself about it. And I'm like, that's when I'm just scooping her up and being like, Aylin, there's literally nothing that you could ever do or ever say to me that would make me not love you. Yeah, we were both frustrated and acted like total spouses and stuff. But like it does not matter. So, like, I feel like that repairing is huge too. And like going back to feeling like you have to be the perfect parent. I am not the perfect parent. I'm a total spaz. My husband's wonderful. He's really, 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 really good. But yeah, I definitely struggle with it. But I think a key thing here is repair. And also too, recognizing that some of these outbursts she's having, it's completely modeled from me being a spaz. Like, I'm like, why are you acting this way? It's like, because you act this way sometimes, Alicia. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it can go the same for any single thing, just like we saw with the biting situation. If we bite our children, they're going to go and bite us back or bite other people. Like, our children are products of what we're showing them. And obviously that can be really triggering and like put a lot of pressure on us too. But I think just like you said, at the end of the day, we're not perfect parents. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, and just that's okay. It's okay for your child to see that. It's okay that you're not like you're an actual human. I remember the one day Nora said something to me like, yeah, you never cry. And I was like, I cry all the time. I was like, I don't always cry in front of you because I don't want you to be sad. And when she said that, I'm like, wow, that really hit me. Like, I should cry in front of her more often because I want her to see that I'm a human. And like, I get upset too, and I have feelings too. And then she's so funny. And she's like, yeah, remember that one time you cried? It was like a year and a half ago. She still remembers. Like, we went all the way to the border to go over to Niagara Falls, and I forgot all of our passports. It was like a 30-minute drive. We had to go back home, and I cried because I was emotional about it. I'm like, I can't believe I forgot. Like, I was upset with myself. I'm crying, and she still remembers it because that was like the one time she saw me cry. She'll always remember it for the rest of her life, probably. Yeah. But I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. No, I've cried in front of my kids on multiple occasions, and sometimes it's been during like we're all having meltdowns, and I just like burst into tears, and it's like, oh, mommy has feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as you show them like you are the boss in a way, right? Yeah. You are the authority figure. They can lean on you and trust you that you're going to take care of them. If you're like questioning yourself, well, obviously we all do, but don't verbalize it in front of your child because they're going to be like, I'm going to question you too as a parent if you don't know what the heck you're doing or you're not confident in what you're doing, you know? And I feel like the FAFO parent is just like, well, go figure it out on your own. I don't care anymore. That's just like the vibe that I'm getting, but there's just not enough research on it. And like I said, I really think it's going to like fade away.
Totally.
It's just a trend that people caught on to and making.
I think so much of it has to do with like the clickbait aspects of it and just getting views.
Is because like if you think about it, algorithms and Instagram and social media are like so low for so many people, and a lot of people just aren't on it anymore. So it's like a funny thing to like, it is, some videos are funny if they're like making fun of it too, but like if you're actually doing these things to your kids to get a reaction or see what they're going to do, I think it's harmful for your relationship with your child for sure, especially if you keep doing it, because they're going to be like, I can't trust my mom, I can't trust my dad.
Also, you're posting it on the internet.
I know, and like that's another whole other topic. I don't like when people use their children in that way to like post, like, you know, do a joke on them or things like that. Makes
well, yeah, there was a lot of like funny kind of like kid trends where it was like the egg thing. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I hated that. I don't know, because it's funny. It just for
I'd be so mad if somebody smashed an egg on my head.
I know, I would be too, and then just like get the reaction and put it online for everyone to see.
No,
it's sad.
Not okay with that at all. I thought that entire trend was super weird and uncomfortable, and just no.
I know,
not my thing at all.
And this is just another one.
I feel like my main like 3 things with parenting, like I'm not gonna be perfect all the time. I'm not at all. But like just making sure that I'm setting developmentally appropriate boundaries, I'm comfortable supporting emotions, and if like natural consequences work in that situation, then cool. And I feel like that's kind of my guideline with parenting in general. I don't need all these silly labels, like whether or not I'm being gentle or responsive or respectful parenting. I just do my best.
Yeah, I think we all are, and I think everybody listening is, and people that turn to social media or turn to things online is a really tough gray area, because if they see something like this, they might follow it or whatnot. Or I think like we said at the end of the day, it's like you do what's best for your family as long as it's not abuse.
Yes.
That will last long effects on your child. I think you just do the best you can.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to connect with us beyond the podcast. You can find me on all social media platforms at moonbay.sleep. And for more sleepy goodness, you can head over to Instagram and follow Aleni at Rooted in Sleep. Until next week, keep embracing the chaos.